Again, I'm Deanne Lee. I'm the budget manager for the city. And I'm going to give you just kind of a brief overview of the city budget so that you kind of have a basic understanding of it. So let's first look at where the money comes from. A lot of our money comes from taxes, and that money is unrestricted, and we can use that for any purpose. But we also have other revenues that come in from rates and fees and grants, and those are usually restricted and can only be used for certain things. So we can't use a restricted grant to pay for new parks or things like that. And then this slide shows the different funding sources that we have. So we have more than 100 different funds in the city. And so you'll see 37% of the funding sources in the city are with the enterprise funds. Those are our utilities, for example, electric, water, and sanitation, convention center. So those revenues are used to support those operations. And then we have other funding sources such as special revenues, internal service, and various miscellaneous ones. The one that we talk about the most is the general fund, which makes up about 21% of the citywide financial sources. And that's where most of the discretionary money is that we can use to fund core services. So next slide. So this is a breakdown of the general fund revenues. And you'll see that 80% of the general fund comes from our unrestricted tax base. So that is what we call our big three revenues. That's transient occupancy tax, sales tax, and property taxes. So next slide, please. So now that we've collected all this money, what can we do with it? Before we look at adding new services, new parks, new police officers, various things, we have to look at the bills that we need to pay, our existing obligations. So where does the money go? About 80% of the money goes towards supporting services. So that includes the cost for people, their salaries, full-time, part-time, and their benefits. And then other miscellaneous operating costs, office supplies, contractual services, facility rent, vehicle maintenance, all those types of things make up the services component. And then when you look at that piece, 50% of that is our safety departments. So that's police and fire and rescue. 13% is ensuring quality of life. So that includes community services, housing and community development, economic development, planning and building. And then providing the necessities is public works and public utilities. They make up 5%. And then we have our administrative support, human resources, finance, and then our city administration, city clerk, city attorney. That makes up about 9%. The remaining portion goes to debt service and economic development. So this is another way of looking at where the general fund money goes. For every dollar in the general fund, about 54 cents pays for the salary and benefits of the existing city employees. So those people are who are out there providing day-to-day services to our residents in our community. The remaining 46 cents makes up other costs, including 22 cents for the resort and convention center debt. And then there's about 8 cents for equipment and maintenance, and about 7 cents for rent and utilities. Another way to look at this is our staffing. So we have about 2,071 full-time positions in the city. About 61% of those, or 1,255 positions, are supported by the general fund. And more than half of those are sworn police officers or firefighters. The remaining includes professional staff such as analysts, engineers, and attorneys, professional staff in police and fire, librarians and community services staff, and then clerical and administrative support. We have a number of resources available for you to get more information. If you didn't pick one up on your way in, we have a budget preview document available in both English and Spanish that gives a little 6 to 8 page summary of the budget. Our budget is available online. We have a new QR code this year. We're getting techie here. You can scan that code and it'll take you directly to our budget page. And there we have the budget preview document. We have story maps, which shows all of the proposed capital projects for this year. OpenGov provides a breakdown of the budget and prior year actuals, and then Balancing Act. You can also find the actual complete proposed document on our website. So last slide is just a reminder of the upcoming schedule that we have. We have 5 more neighborhood district meetings coming up in the next 3 weeks. We also have our budget workshop on June 13th at the City Hall Council Chambers. And then on June 27th, we will have a second department workshop and we'll have a public hearing to consider the budget. So with that, I will finish up here and I will be in the back if anyone has any questions afterwards. Transient occupancy tax, that's a tax that's on hotel stays of 30